Today's guest is Dr. Jared Byrne. Dr. Byrne is a clinical assistant professor in the Management and Entrepreneurship Department at the W.P. Carey School of Business and the director of the Center for Entrepreneurship and New Business Design. Dr. Byrne focuses on building students' entrepreneurship skills, being the faculty coordinator for the New Venture Challenge course and competition, W.P. Carey Accelerator programs, and more. We are so excited to be speaking with Dr. Byrne today as he's the director for Founders Lab, which is the pathway for our honors thesis. Let's get into today's episode. We're so excited. For today's episode, we're so excited to be joined with Dr. Byrne. First off, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be a professor at ASU?
I have a very untraditional background. I used to be a sheriff.
Wow.
I was in law enforcement. I did everything except academia.
Really?
Yeah, when I graduated high school, you had to do a little paragraph for the yearbook. And my statement was, I don't know what I'm going to do in the future, but I promise I will never go back to school. So after a few years, I got an opportunity to come down to ASU, and now I've just fallen in love with like research and academia.
Yeah.
And I came down, I got my master's, I got my PhD. So it was really, I don't know what you want to call it, divine intervention, serendipity. It was just kind of things aligned, and it was a door that opened up.
Wow.
And I kind of ran.
Yeah. How did you get interested in entrepreneurship and that as a field?
It was kind of luck. I study and I am fascinated by complex systems.
Okay.
So anything that's not linear.
Okay.
I don't like discussions about linearity. I don't like, it's just not my world. And so entrepreneurship, sports, athletics, all that type of stuff is what I study. It's what I love.
Cool. Very cool. So where did you go to school? What did you study?
I originally did enforcement, and I studied it at a college up in Canada, Lethbridge.
Okay.
Excuse me, Lethbridge College. Then I got a Bachelor of Management at the University of Lethbridge. Then I got a job where it wasn't a great job, and I needed a promotion, and I needed a master's. So I ended up at ASU.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Did you like being a sheriff?
I gotta be careful maybe how I answer this. I did like it.
Okay.
I liked the community, I liked the camaraderie. I'm not super good at enforcement and yelling at people and fighting and wrestling, and that wasn't me. And then we had some instances where I have a wife and 4 kids, and my little kids were at a playground, and some of the people we just released from jail were at the playground with their kids. And he totally knew who I was because he would not let his kid play with my kids. And so that happened a couple of times.
Gosh.
That happened a couple of times, and my wife and I just said, this is probably not for us.
Yeah.
So I did like it. I love the people, but it wasn't a fit for our family.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
That's crazy. So you went to school in Canada. Where are you from originally? Did you spend time there?
Yeah, I was born in Zimbabwe.
Okay, very cool.
And then raised Canada, Southeast Asia, Singapore, and then America.
Very cool. What made you move around so much? Your family?
Yeah, originally my dad was in the military.
Okay.
And so the family kind of bounced around and moved. And then I love travel.
Yeah.
And so just university opportunities, we apply to jobs all over the world. That's just kind of what we do.
Very cool. My dad was an expat for Chevron, so we moved around a ton growing up too. That's very cool. When did you begin working at ASU?
Oh, I should know this, but I don't. 2018? Yeah, I did my MBA, and so 2018, 2019, I finished my MBA and applied to run the Center for Entrepreneurship here.
Very cool. Have you started any personal ventures of your own?
I have. And it's everything. When I was in Canada, we did something called Snowy Workers with my little kids, and we'd go and shovel sidewalks for people. And so we did that. So it's everything from like small business to I've helped launch, and we're launching a technology company for mass casualty incidents to try and help law enforcement deal with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you had a favorite venture that you've worked on?
A favorite venture that I've worked on? I don't think so. I just love working with my kids on stuff. We're doing one called, I should know what it is, Baking Monster, and that's fun. Where we do baking stuff and like clothes, aprons, and stuff like that. That one's super fun.
That's fun. So are your kids super interested in it as well? Like, do they like designing these kind of business ideas?
Yeah.
Very cool.
I also think they're kind of forced to like it.
Yeah.
They're probably so sick and tired of me talking about it all the time. They're like, I need to do this so that my dad will shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun though. How old are they?
My oldest is 21.
Okay.
Turning 21 in 3 months, and my youngest is 13.
Very cool. Nice. So outside of academia, what are some of your hobbies or interests? And we talked about like sports, other things.
I coach high school soccer.
Very cool.
It's pretty much those 4 kids, what they do. I'm a taxi. I drive them around. All my hobbies. I like reading. I try and do a lot of reading, but mostly it's watching my kids' sports, coaching, volunteering wherever I can.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's super fun. So now we're going to get into some more course and education-based questions.
Okay.
So we know that you do a lot of like direction with different courses. So what are those courses that you direct?
When I started working here, I was with the Center for Entrepreneurship, so I did kind of one course a year, and so that's normally intro entrepreneurship, like ENT 360. I have been a faculty for a year now, going on to a year. So now I'm doing Founders Lab, New Venture Challenge, mostly programs that are applied entrepreneurship. I've done a master's leadership course, but it's mostly applied entrepreneurship stuff that I do.
Okay, nice. How do you motivate your students, and how would you describe your leadership style?
I generally don't motivate my students. I expect my students to be motivated because it's entrepreneurial, so they're signing up. So my leadership style is I will engage and provide as much support as someone wants, but I expect them to ask me for that support. So if you're not really interested in trying something, I'm probably not a good professor to have.
How do you handle those situations if you notice that someone's lacking that motivation?
Yeah, I mean, I've been really lucky. I think ASU is really good, especially in a program like Founders Lab, because Barrett students are generally very engaged and they want to try. So I haven't dealt with it a lot, but every year we have 2 or 3, and normally it's a conversation and they withdraw. They recognize themselves, like, this isn't for me. A lot of students like very kind of like linear, we'll tell you what to do. And as you know, that's not Founders Lab. Like, it's you take it and you run it, and we'll give you whatever support we can to help, but it's up to you. Yeah,
that makes sense. What interested you in directing or leading Founders Lab?
Like most of the stuff I do, it was student-led. So I was sitting in the Center for Entrepreneurship one day. Some students came in and said, we would really like to try entrepreneurship, but we don't know how to try it. Like, where do we start? And so I said, well, if I gave you some ideas, would you try it? And they did. I threw out some ideas. They tried it. And then we had a discussion with them at the end of the semester, and they said, well, this should be a course. So one of the faculty in the department said, you should talk to Barrett. They need honors projects. And so I went and talked to Barrett, and they said, we'd love to try that. We expected 1 to 2 to sign up, and we had 30 the first year, and we get about 150 a year now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Do you remember what that first venture was, like what they ended up doing?
What a good question. I should have done that research. I can't remember what project it was, but it was a technology from another department that they were looking at trying to commercialize. And so they kind of worked with it, and students generally do a good job. The idea is not as important as people think it is. So you can come up with really any idea. If you've got good students, they can make it work.
That's a good point. Have you had a favorite venture that's come out of Founders
Oh,
Lab?
I can't say that on camera. No, I don't have one favorite venture. We had a trackable, like a digital dog collar that was really cool.
Oh, very cool.
We had a service it was a female kind of club. It was just for females at ASU, and they did an activity every couple of weeks,
Okay.
like training and yoga, and that was probably one of our most successful ventures.
Okay.
This one's really cool. This is a venture I wear hats around. I'm always wearing a hat, but this is a venture from last year.
Oh, cool.
They did events, so they ran events for universities to get people to participate and to get students to engage. So I love them all. I can't even think of one I didn't like. But yeah, I can't say that. Yeah.
This is more of a general question, but do you feel like when people go through Founders Lab, there's more service-based projects or more like tangible product projects?
Wow. That's a great question. Traditionally, when we started it, there were more products.
Okay.
A lot of students wanted products. A lot of students wanted technologies that they could try and commercialize. We had a partnership at the very beginning with NASA.
Oh, wow.
And so we could pull NASA technologies.
Very cool.
And so we can still pull those technologies, but over the years, more and more people pull away from it because as students are doing research and if they don't come up with the idea, it takes 2 or 3 months to just gather all the data they need to. And most students want to get started quickly and they want to make sales as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Or they want to get some sort of traction as fast as they can. And so that's normally not a product. So now it's far more service.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
How do you feel that students can get the most out of your programs?
Self-direction, right? Initiative, taking initiative. I am infinitely patient. Even if you do something wrong or you can't fail if you're trying.
Yeah.
If you're not trying, you're not going to enjoy my classes.
Yeah, so just showing that effort.
Showing the
continually.
effort, do something that you're passionate about. I don't care if it's big or little, but as long as you're passionate or you're interested in it, just try it.
Yeah, totally. You mentioned earlier the new venture program challenge and competition course that you teach. I wanted to know a little bit more about that course.
So there's lots of different ways that students can develop a venture, and some go to side hustles, some go to small and medium businesses, and some, not as many, but some go to venture capital type businesses.
Okay.
They want mass scale, fast growth. That program is designed to help those ventures practice their pitches. It's an 8-week sprint, and then they pitch at the end and compete for 50 to 70, I think was last year, $50,000 to $70,000 of investment.
Wow.
So part of the class is they can win up to $50,000, $60,000. Yeah.
Wow. So what are some of those ventures that people come up with? Like, what have past ones been?
Those are a bit different, those
Okay.
type of ventures, because they're venture capital type businesses.
Okay.
So generally, they're businesses that can scale. They're businesses that have a large market,
Okay.
a large potential market. So they're not anything that's a side hustle. So those
makes sense.
businesses, we have a lot of engineers that try and participate or apply. Only 10 get in every year to
Oh,
that
wow.
course. We have lots of business students that come up with stuff, but yeah, we've had robots, lots of robotics, medical technologies. A video game platform last year won.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of our students here at ASU has made a video game platform. So he won last year. So that type of stuff, things that can scale and have lots of followers, those are the type of ventures that win.
Okay, nice. That makes sense. So since you do a lot of the entrepreneurship and we've talked a lot about effort and just students showing that effort, is there anything specifically that you think students should expect to walk away learning or knowing after your programs, or what do you hope that they build upon?
I honestly hope that students find their value, the type of value they can add, and find a way or learn how to apply that into any context. That's what I want my students to learn. I want them to learn how they can develop businesses and be innovative, but how they can do that in any context.
So with self-discipline and having that discipline, do you think there's any other skills and personal traits that are necessary to build a successful venture?
I honestly, and maybe I'm in the minority here, I don't know, I don't think so. I think anybody can do a business. There are certain things that have to eventually happen. You need to stay close to your customers. You need to understand them. And so you can learn that, but as you're participating in entrepreneurship, you're inevitably going to learn how to do market research and find your audience and talk to them. But anybody can do it. If you're driven, that's the one thing we can't train. If you have no desire, and sometimes we get amazing students in these programs, but they just don't care. Yeah. And if you don't care, we're never going to force you to be a successful entrepreneur. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that makes sense. So is there any advice that you would give to a young entrepreneur?
What advice would I give? Don't give up. Like, your product can change, your service can change, but don't give up. There are so many ways to learn entrepreneurship. There's a million different ways to do it. There's a million different ways to fail. So there's no one thing you have to do, but just don't give up. Keep learning, keep trying. And even if one venture fails, just keep trying, because those skill sets, those talents, you can apply them in a lot of different places.
Yeah, definitely. So ASU holds the title for being #1 in innovation. Do you think that promoting entrepreneurship through programs such as Founders Lab play a role in that?
Well, that would be very cool if it did. I'm not 100% sure that it does, for two reasons. Number one, I don't know what #1 in innovation means, right? I know we're innovative, but I don't know what metrics go into that. Like, I don't know how we're identified as the most innovative. I'll tell you, our students are amazing, and they're very innovative, but I haven't gone to a lot of universities to know if they're more innovative than other universities. Yeah. But I think what ASU does very, very well is it's decentralized. And so I think we're very innovative and entrepreneurial because no one's controlling the program. And so you can go to different colleges and get different methods and different approaches and different talents and different skills. And that decentralization, I think, makes departments, I don't want to say compete with each other, but it pushes them to be more innovative and improve. Yeah. And I think that's what ASU does better than any other school.
Yeah. Do you think that, like, with entrepreneurship, being innovative and having, like, a drive for innovation is a big part of that? Like, to being a successful entrepreneur?
For sure. But it really depends on the type of innovation, and the type of entrepreneurship. Like, side hustle or small and medium business, they don't necessarily need to be that particularly innovative. But yeah, I think how innovative ASU is, I would be shocked if we weren't #1 or 2 in entrepreneurship in the coming years, just because there's so much innovation and cool technologies and cool things coming out. If we can just commercialize those, then we'll be #1 in entrepreneurship as well.
This is more just a general question, but how do you think that they measure, like, being #1 in entrepreneurship? Like, is it by, like, the number of ventures that come out of ASU? Is it about, like, the drive? I was just wondering. I don't know how that's measured.
The blunt, I think it's measured differently.
Okay.
In different places and in different contexts. And I think we won't ever be #1 in entrepreneurship. This is a really long answer, and so I'll try and make it super short. A lot of universities, like President Crow pushes towards whom we include, not exclude. Yeah. A lot of universities don't do that. Yeah. So if you have a lot of wealthy students and only wealthy students, then they have a lot of friends and family who can fund bigger ideas and can scale. And so they would be more comfortable leaning towards things like venture capital type businesses because they've got the money to lose money for a couple of years before they start making profit. We're a very different university. A lot of our students don't have that capacity. So we work, at least I work, a lot more with side hustles, small and medium business type ideas, because students want to make revenue quickly so that they can keep doing their idea. So we'll never be #1 if you're measuring amount of venture capital investment that's been
Okay.
given. I don't think we'd ever compete with Harvard or MIT or Stanford, but I don't think we want to. I think
Yeah.
we're more inclusive. So if they measure by number of people participating, we can beat them.
Okay.
If they measure by money invested, I don't know if we'll ever beat that, and I don't know if we want to.
Yeah, that makes sense. Great. Well, now we're going to get into some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Just to end it off. So, coffee or tea?
Neither.
Window or aisle seat?
Window.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Cats or dogs?
Oh, dogs.
Pepsi or Coke?
I'll go Coke.
Okay. Hot dogs or hamburgers?
Hamburgers.
Ice cream in a cup or in a cone?
Cup.
Talk or listen?
Talk.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Podcasts or books?
Book.
Learning or teaching?
Learning.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This was
Thank
such
you.
a great episode. It was so great to get to know you some more.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're always looking for new professors to interview, so let us know if you have anyone that you want us to interview next.